The journey from government denial to official acknowledgement of UFO encounters represents one of the most dramatic shifts in modern political history. For decades, those who reported encounters with unusual aerial phenomena faced ridicule, career threats, and institutional silence. The transformation from Project Blue Book, the Air Force's public investigation that concluded in 1969 by dismissing all UFO reports as misidentifications or hoaxes, to today's congressionally mandated UAP investigations reveals how persistent witnesses eventually forced official recognition of experiences long dismissed. The Air Force examined over 12,000 UFO reports between 1952 and 1969, concluding that none represented extraterrestrial visitors or security concerns. This public dismissal contrasted sharply with internal military documents that took certain incidents, particularly those around nuclear facilities, far more seriously. The official government position became that UFOs simply didn't exist, despite continued reports from military personnel, pilots, and civilians. For Captain Robert Salas, the 1967 Malmstrom incident represented a deeply troubling security breach he personally witnessed. After leaving the Air Force, Salas began researching similar incidents at other nuclear facilities. He discovered other military officers had experienced comparable events, unidentified objects appearing over nuclear installations, followed by system malfunctions or security breaches. Many had remained silent for decades, fearing ridicule or career damage. Salas faced significant obstacles in bringing the Malmstrom incident to public attention. The original reports remained classified. Many colleagues refused to speak publicly. Media outlets treated UFO reports as entertainment rather than serious security concerns. Government agencies maintained blanket denial of any extraordinary aspects of these incidents. For years, Salas worked largely alone, gathering documentation through Freedom of Information Act requests and locating other witnesses willing to come forward. His breakthrough came in securing testimony from other officers present during the incident. Lieutenant Fred Maywold, his commanding officer, and the Launch Control Center confirmed the essential details. Security personnel who had observed the glowing object provided their accounts. Missile maintenance technicians who responded to the shutdown offered technical confirmation that the official explanation of electronic noise couldn't account for what happened. By 2010, Salas had assembled enough evidence to organize a formal press conference at the National Press Club in Washington, D.C., featuring multiple military officers testifying about UFO incidents at nuclear sites. These weren't anonymous sources but decorated military officers with direct responsibility for nuclear weapons. They risked their professional reputations to publicly testify about events the government had long denied. 7 former Air Force officers described various UFO encounters at nuclear missile sites across the United States and Britain. Despite generating some news coverage, elected officials and major news outlets showed little long-term interest. The systematic dismissal of UFO reports continued largely unchanged, leaving witnesses like Salas wondering if their truth would ever be acknowledged. The real turning point came in December 2017. The New York Times published a groundbreaking article titled, "Glowing Auras and Black Money: The Pentagon's Mysterious UFO Program." The article revealed a secret Pentagon program that had investigated UFOs between 2007 and 2012. For the first time, a major newspaper confirmed through official sources that the government had continued investigating UFOs long after claiming to have abandoned the subject. The Times article included Navy fighter pilot videos showing encounters with unidentified aerial phenomena displaying capabilities beyond known aircraft. It quoted Program Director Luis Elizondo, stating that these objects showed accelerations that cannot be achieved by conventional technology. Decades of silence were beginning to crack. This revelation created a cascade effect. Major news outlets began covering UAP incidents with serious journalism rather than ridicule. Members of Congress demanded briefings. Navy pilots felt empowered to come forward with their own encounters. The Pentagon, after initially denying the program's existence, was forced to acknowledge its reality and confirm the authenticity of the released videos. By 2020, public and congressional pressure had built to the point where the Intelligence Authorization Act included a provision requiring a comprehensive report on unidentified aerial phenomena. Congress was now formally mandating investigation of phenomena the government had spent decades dismissing. The resulting report, released in June 2021, marked a historic turning point. While cautious in its language, the report acknowledged the reality of unexplained incidents, stating that many UAP sightings probably do represent physical objects. It examined 144 incidents reported by military personnel since 2004, concluding that all but one remained unexplained after investigation. Congressional interest intensified. The National Defense Authorization Act for fiscal year 2022 established what would become the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, tasked with collecting and analyzing UAP reports and providing annual updates to Congress. The United States government had created an official, publicly acknowledged program specifically focused on investigating unidentified aerial phenomena. In May 2022, Congress held the first public hearing on UFOs in over 50 years. Defense Department officials testified about ongoing investigations, acknowledging hundreds of reports from military personnel. The hearing represented a dramatic departure from decades of government dismissal and ridicule. For Robert Salas and other witnesses to the Malmstrom incident, these developments represented vindication after decades of being ignored. The government was finally acknowledging what these witnesses had been reporting for years, that unidentified objects demonstrating extraordinary capabilities had repeatedly interacted with nuclear weapons facilities. The persistence of witnesses like Salas proved crucial in forcing this shift toward acknowledgment. By maintaining their testimony despite institutional resistance, collecting documentation, and finding other witnesses willing to come forward, they created a body of evidence too compelling to dismiss. Their willingness to risk professional reputation and personal ridicule ultimately changed the narrative from blanket denial to formal investigation. As government disclosure continues to evolve, the experiences of these military witnesses serve as a reminder that behind the sensational headlines are real people who encountered something extraordinary and potentially world-changing. Their decades-long journey from silence to acknowledgement demonstrates how persistent truth-telling can eventually overcome even the most entrenched institutional denial. The Malmstrom incident remains one of the most compelling cases of UAP interference with nuclear weapons. Multiple military witnesses with impeccable credentials observed a connection between strange aerial objects and the simultaneous failure of 10 nuclear missiles, a technical impossibility according to the system's design. These encounters fundamentally challenge our understanding of nuclear security and our place in the universe. They raise profound questions about vulnerability in our most secure systems. As government disclosure continues to evolve, Robert Salas and other witnesses represent the human element behind the technical reports.